Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to a new episode of A New Go of New Home Sales. I'm Anya Chrysanthemum and joining me today is John Lee. John, hi.
Here as usual.
Yes. Yep. And today we're talking about the MarTech revolution.
Sounds so scary.
Ooh.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, well, with the MarTech revolution, it's not as scary as it sounds. Actually, I'm hoping, our marketing people there have been craving for something better. And with the MarTech revolution that I'm going to explain here, it's really going to allow you to advance from basic to advanced level marketing. We're seeing the evolution of MarTech. And so what is MarTech? MarTech is actually this coming together of traditionally disparate functions, which is marketing and technology. They only came together when you actually had problems with your computers. Now it's actually happening online in front of everyone all the time. And marketing staff are really there to help bring the buyers and sellers together, really bring the audience to the builders. Now, technology has come in. It's only been improving those connections. Technology is a friend, it's not a foe, and it improves those connections. And with those better connections, it provides a better customer experience because today's buyers speak tech. So what we want to do is to empower you because the role of marketing has expanded. If you listen to our last episode, it went from just initially just attracting the audience and handing off to the salespeople to engaging that buyer anytime, anywhere, anyhow. And where do we as a New Go come into all this stuff is we're really a MarTech company in the prop tech space. We're evolving from just traditionally being a content company for marketers to just put static thumbnail images there to actually being a MarTech company, which is utilizing technology to provide more interactive, immersive content. We want to take your wonderful marketing content and we're making it functional for today's consumer. And that's through apps, which could be done on your website, could be done in your sales center, touchscreen kiosk. So this is a way to kind of set up a queue, but keep people still engaged. And obviously online and social media is another great way, and email campaigns and seeing how they respond gives you great data on who opened those emails, how long they stayed there, what did they go into, did they register? And it provides a wonderful functionality to your business as well as a function for interactivity.
This is why self-service is so popular now. I mean,
exactly.
We see that from the rise of Enter Now and U-Tour,
exactly.
Self-service when you're coming into the model home on your own, to building a home online by yourself in the comfort of your own home. When people do it themselves, when they're empowered and they have the right tools to get the information that they need, they want, they're actually more likely to take that next step and move forward. And we also see interesting correlation that when we implement self-service, for example, with option selection, that people actually spend more money on options, on average 30% more, which is obviously huge news, great news for the builders, because that's where you guys make your money. So
now you're taking the risk factor out of it, and you're actually not just taking the risk out, but you got them excited.
Yes, now I can't wait to see that brand new kitchen. Before, I was probably excited to see that brand new kitchen to make sure that it doesn't come out crazy looking.
Exactly. But now you've actually got, now you can't wait. So that's what we're trying to use technology for. And what we want to do is we want to bring those left brain and right brain pieces together to be the whole brain. And that's where MarTech has evolved. And we do that through our data-driven visualizations. The data drives the visuals, and the visuals actually drive the data in terms of it now creates the spec sheets for the builders to build the homes of the buyer's dreams. And we do that by allowing the buyers to find, design, experience, and buy new homes online. As you all know, builders speak textually and in jargon. They talk in CAD files, ERP terms, contracts, and then you throw in real estate agents, and they speak in real estate terms, and there's construction jargon, all this kind of stuff. All of that is lost in translation to the consumers. The consumers are looking for something exciting and beautiful and the home of their dreams. Don't muddy up my dreams with a bunch of contractual terms and legalese and all this other stuff. Buyers speak visually. Everyone speaks visually, whether you're a baby or a 90-year-old, whether you're from Africa or you're from Asia or US. What the buyers want, not only is it visually engaging, but they don't know what the things are called, but they know what they like when they see it. And if we're able to allow them to speak in the way that they want to speak, and not in 1,000 words, but with visualizations, as they interact with it, it now translates it back in real time using our cloud rendering engine. So we were basically the modern day real estate agent in the sense that we're using technology to be that intermediary, that translator between builder speak and buyer speak, because marketers speak both. The salesperson is waiting for a better handoff than they've ever had in the past. They cannot take thousands of leads at the start of the sales journey. They want people to filter themselves out as the good, bad, and ugly, the serious ones, the ones that have questions versus the ones that can DIY themselves, and then be able to pick and meet them where they are in the online sales journey, as opposed to just getting a handoff from a phone call to show up at the sales center.
Yeah, and think about customer experience with that. Instead of you trying to convince them to buy that house, they're convincing themselves because they're getting excited by engaging with this visual content, by creating the dream kitchen, by creating the dream bathroom. And now they're emotionally tied in and they can't wait to see that house actually being built. So it's a huge difference in the experience of a customer.
And conversely, if you had someone call them as soon as they registered, they won't answer the phone because they don't want to talk to you. We're not in the era anymore of, hey, I'm going to set my whole weekend to ride around with you and look through 20 houses and bring my whole family along. And yeah, we'll eat lunch with you and pick up brochures and then come back and circle up things and then mail it back to you or something.
So BDX actually did a study on this where they gave cameras to new home shoppers and they had them record their experience as they go through home buying process. And literally people were driving to the model home and then hiding from the salesperson because they thought like, oh, maybe I can come into the model and go in by myself. But as soon as they saw a salesperson, they're like, and they were serious buyers. And these are the people hiding from salespeople. So that's where we got to make sure we don't make the mistake of pushing them to in person.
Too early in the process. Yeah, you're actually scaring them off. It's like when I go fishing and I used to never catch anything, even though I had the greatest bait on there, it's because I pull it up on the rod too quick, because I'm too excited. We live in the most socially connected world of ever, but we're almost in the most antisocial behavior. And salespeople, it just adds to that kind of fear. And then now you throw in COVID. I think you let the people do as much as they can, let them slowly move into the trap, get hooked. It's easier to reel them in at that point. If you listen to our previous podcast, we talked about how MarTech drives online sales. And again, marketing plus technology is very powerful because at its very essence, marketing connects buyers and sellers. And what do they focus on in doing that? They do that by enriching their content and channels. And what I mean by enriching is not only great content, beautiful renderings, great photographs, wonderful videos and all those things, but making it all engaging and interactive. Don't just make it like the old days. You go to a movie theater and all you can do is just watch it and it's presented to you. Well, now with Netflix, you can jump ahead. You can start where you left off somewhere else. There's a lot more interactivity, just like, with Spotify. Instead of just listening to a radio station and whatever comes across that channel, the same with TV, I want to pick which music I want to listen to. I want to watch it when I want to watch it. And I want to skip ahead or record it. Those are the enrichment aspects that technology gives you. Otherwise, you're in a one-way communication. Technology improves that connection. And what they do by doing that is they provide that great customer experience. And how does that happen through MarTech? Well, data powers MarTech. The one blessing and curse of new homes is The blessing is that you have thousands of options to choose from, all the way down to the kitchen sink and even which home site or community you want to live in. The curse of that is there's so many options that you can't figure it out and see it, and you don't have enough time in a day. And then on top of that, you have to get your wife or your spouse to buy into that, to see that at the same time and sit down with you at the same time to understand all that stuff, when you should be able to save it and share it. Data, one, it shows you everything that's possible, but in a way that it knows resonates with you. So out of the million options, Anya, you will only see those 10 options that resonate with you, and I'll see 10 other options out of that million that resonate with me as a starting point, and then I can then refine it. I mean, that is the ideal world. You have no more FOMO. You don't have any fear of missing out because everything was before you, but you also have that concierge service of, hey, I got a personalized virtual buyer's agent to help me shop, and I was still able to then add that necklace to my dress.
It allows consumers to make smarter decisions because they feel that, it's just like, think about Facebook, right? With Facebook, it's going to show you information similar to what you have already liked. So that's where it can be dangerous on Facebook, because if you're, a strong supporter of one side or the other, if you're only liking that one side, you're going to continue to see more and more of that.
Exactly.
However, when it comes to designing a home, that's a great thing, because if you like certain style, now it's only going to show you that similar style of things that you're going to like, and not something that's completely out of what left wing. So it saves you a lot of time in making your decision process easier. And it also recommends something that people who are similar to you like. So again, you can check, just like on Amazon, right? When you add something to cart, it shows you people also added these things, and it could be helpful when it's decision time. So it does guide you down that funnel.
Yes, and we actually built our platform using Facebook's framework. Their whole guiding principle was to provide personalization at a massive scale online. That's what we're trying to provide for the new home industry, is that we want to show all the wonderful things that you have to offer, but let everyone have it in a personalized way. And how's that happen? This is where all MarTech comes together. Apps bring it all together. An app allows that generic content to be presented to you when you want it, how you want it, where you want it. It really optimizes new home marketing because it allows you to service thousands, if not millions of consumers in a way that resonates with each one without you having to imagine if you had to create unique content for every one of those things every day instantly when they ask for it. The only way it happens is that you have to create a real-time rendering engine that renders that unique house in the uniquely way to them within a couple of seconds on their smartphone.
And that's exactly what we're doing, right?
Exactly. And that's what we are doing. And we service hundreds of builders that way already. And we're going to launch our marketplace in the spring, which will allow people to do that across hundreds of builders and thousands of communities and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of options.
So imagine it's like, instead of going to, say you want to move to Houston, and instead of Googling like, okay, what, I want to build a home in Houston, what are the top home builders in Houston? And, lucky if you even show up on a Google search for that, right? Instead of doing that, I go to an app that's kind of like Facebook, right? And in Facebook, all of the home builders are represented with their content. And based on my personal preferences, it already matches me to that perfect house. So I'm not seeing a bunch of, brick homes where I hate brick homes. I'm only seeing, craftsman style home with shiplap all over it. Right. So that's personalized content to me. And every time I go back into the app, it remembers where I left off. So I don't have to, save a bunch of websites and try to remember where I was, submit a bunch of my information to 10 different websites. So then all of the home builders are calling me at the same time. Imagine the customer experience there. That's why they don't want to submit their information to begin with. Instead, it's all congregated in one place so that they come back, pick up where they left off, and they see what they want to see, not a bunch of other stuff.
So what we want to do is use, like I said, MarTech to drive those online buyers down a digital sales funnel, and we want to do it 24/7.
And as we know, consumers love to shop at 2 a.m. on a Friday night.
Yes, and those are probably your most serious consumers. The ones that are shopping around during the daytime are probably your competitors or someone looking for a job. So you're actually appealing to the wrong audience. The one thing about MarTech is it enables the higher level marketing that most builders never even dreamed of. On the left side of my chart here, you'll see at the very basic level what I call presentation marketing. And that's founded on their websites, which are static channels on top of this, which was fine when you had static content. Now you have interactive content. It's really to jump out of the TV set, but you're still using, VCRs instead of streaming. It doesn't jive. So what we're trying to do here is to elevate it from presentation marketing only. You can only present a generic static representation of what you have to offer. And then you got to count on the salesperson to kind of fill in the gaps and paint the picture verbally. That content is generally created by the builder, which uses rendering companies. What we want to do, we're going to disrupt ourselves as a content creating company. We want to let the buyers create their own visualizations, whether it's a rendering that they're designing the colors and options and floor plan options and all that of their home, but also using video gaming engine technology. So as you take virtual tours, as you're designing your lovely kitchen with different countertops and cabinets and colors, you visually see what you designed, but then you can tour, you can look at it from different angles, and you can just add it to your shopping cart. And now that virtual home is your uniquely virtual home.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it goes off of the specifications that the builders provide. So
exactly,
you can design some crazy home with green,
right. It's within the specs of it's within the specs of what their vendor offerings are and what their CAD designs have designed. So it's a whole new world there. And when we're able to add that interactivity, it allows the builder to move up to these higher levels of marketing, which the next level is customization and personalization marketing. And there's actually two different aspects of that, customization versus personalization. I'll explain that in a second. But that personalization requires creating design apps so that the buyer can interactively design those homes versus a static rendering. The next level of marketing is experiential marketing, because not only do you want to see what you've designed, you want to experience it. You want to take those Matterport-like virtual tours. You want to see it from all different directions. You want to see it with furnishings and different design styles. You want to see from the outside. You want to see from the inside. You want to take a virtual tour of the community, because you're not just buying into a house, you're buying into a neighborhood. And that neighborhood may also show the amenities. They may even have some semblance of the lifestyle there based on the cars or some demographics or, a pet park. They want to experience that because they're making a lifestyle and a life stage decision. That happens through virtual tours. And then the highest level of marketing is what we call predictive marketing. And predictive marketing takes all that data that you have generated, plus all the data of other people that have shopped that neighborhood and from all different parts of the world and at different price points and different options. And it now says, hey, people like this will like that probably. And it will predict. And at that point, it becomes the buyer's virtual buyer's agent. I'm not taking out the real estate agent. I'm not taking out the OSC of the seller people. What we want to do is basically have your customers be served to you on a silver platter. I've already got them to pick out all their options and colors and everything. When they show up on the lot, they just need you to give them a test drive. They need you to make them feel that this is a great place to live. But we've already set them up for the kill.
With that, you're almost eliminating the buyer's fatigue, because again, when you think about the process, like how many options, how many neighborhoods. Now, if you, instead of showing me all of this, I take a quick quiz, I point on some pictures that I think, okay, I like this style home, I like this type of a feel for a neighborhood, I'm interested in these types of amenities. And then it pops up 5 options for me instead of me sifting through hundreds and hundreds of different, options.
Mm-hmm.
And voila, those options are actually pretty close to match to what I'm interested to begin with.
As AI presents things to you, you can swipe left or swipe right. So what happens is, as you interact with what is a good recommendation or a good match, it now gets smarter. It says, well, we thought people like you, Anya, would love round columns instead of square columns, but obviously you're a square column person. So we're going to show you more craftsman type of homes versus a colonial. Because you don't need to know the difference between a craftsman and colonial, but it knows those little nuances. And you may not even know that you inherently like square columns versus round columns. You just happen to keep swiping off all the round columns. Mm-hmm. Those are the kind of things that a salesperson may not even be able to interview you for, unless they're going to give you Rorschach tests every day. And you're going to have to, you're going to interact with what you like. And also, it's not just the data of the product, because when you're buying a new home, you're buying into a lot of things around the new home, whether it's a smart home, a green home, the communities and things. So as you read different articles that relate to different aspects of your home purchase, it will say, hey, she reads a lot about the green homes. Let's offer her some stuff about solar panels or fuel energy efficiency appliances. And those are kind of things that help the salesperson sell things that they normally don't talk about. They usually just talk about 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, $500,000 or whatever. You don't know whether it's the kitchen sink or the drawers on the cabinets that actually sell the house, but they will be clicking on those things, and they will be to tell the AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially, we're giving the consumer the power to guide themselves. It's almost like having a really, really amazing agent built in who can, spit out visualizations on demand for you, right?
Right. And has the universe of knowledge across all the shoppers that have visited us from all different places. That is a super agent. And even if you had a few super agents, those super agents can't handle the volume, the scale of all these people in a massive way. So what we're doing is not just, we're actually creating a double agent. I mean, a lot of agents like to be both the buyer and the seller's agent, but what happens is the virtual agent not only guides the buyers down this digital sales funnel and ultimately hands them off to an OSC or a salesperson, but it's also working as a virtual seller's agent, in that as Anya visits certain things or has visited many times or whatever, it starts to send out, it starts to trigger events that then notifies the seller, hey, Anya is ready for lot 15. Every house that she designs is on lot 15. So, invite her for a tour of lot 15 and send her pictures about it, of it and everything. So it helps the seller help the buyer. That's how it's used as a tool. Okay. What's the difference between customization marketing and personalization marketing? It seems kind of like the same thing. Well, at the very high level, content is designed by the user for the customization marketing. And for personalization marketing, content is designed for the user. What does that all mean? Okay, if you think about like Netflix and LinkedIn, which I think most of us use, those are kind of setting up your like profiles. These are Netflix. These are the kind of preferences and movies I like. And, and based on how I rated certain movies after I watch them, it kind of gets a little smarter. LinkedIn, these are the type of people I follow. These are people I want to connect with. I like this kind of content or whatever. So basically, this is like what you're referring to, almost like a buyer's quiz or profile. Let me tell you my must-haves. I need, like MLS, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, $500,000 in Raleigh or whatever. But then you may also want to put in there, if you want to share a little bit more, because we can help you do a better match. These are my want-to-haves. I'd love to have an outdoor kitchen. I'd love to have an office because of COVID now. I'd love to be on the cul-de-sac. But then if you trust that, if you trust us, and this is all about building trust, and marketing has to be the advocate of building that privacy and that trust, is let me share some demographics about me. This is all voluntary now. You opt in on this. My demographics are my psychographics. I have 3 kids. I'm a very outgoing social person. I want to live in a large community, or I want to live, by myself. I want to build on your lot. As you share those things, that customization marketing will know that's the kind of things that you want to be around in. That personalization marketing now it's going to provide you that content that's relevant to your definitions of yourself. Now, the beautiful thing is in that personalization marketing, the buyer can now fine tune those things, as opposed to like Netflix. You can't change the outcome of that movie necessarily, but here you can change. You're so close. I loved everything except for that lot, but let me go and pick a different lot, and I'll sacrifice my hardwood floors for that because I have to have that lot more, because I couldn't really tell that my preference until I saw it. Now it comes back and it gets smarter. So you start off with the customization, defining what you want. The personalization lets you refine what you want.
And this is giving the user a reason to share, reveal their personal information, essentially, instead of staying anonymous, is because the more they share, the more they interact with what do you like? Do you like this? Swipe right, swipe left. The more and more it's going to feed them the information that's actually relevant to them, the more they're going to see things that they prefer. The future information is going to be more and more targeted to what they're going to like, which is great.
It's not only taking your behaviors, taking other users' behaviors similar to you, and by matching the similar demographics, it allows you to now customize based on the trends. And as you now personalize it, it now feeds back into the masses again. You will always have, as a buyer, the comfort that not only you're not missing out on things, but that you are in line with other people that have similar tastes as you. Now let's go back to the world before apps. This is how probably 99% of the builders still market their homes. And unlike other e-commerce consumer products, this is Allie. Traditionally, when she was looking for a house, she would have to go website by website by website. And you start off by that because you don't know from San Francisco which builders are in Austin. So you have to do a Google search. So one, as a builder, you have to pay yourself to be on there, but the big builders are always going to pay more for your name than you ever could. So you're never going to show up as number 1, 2, or 3. Maybe you show up once in a while as 1, 2, or 3, but you're not going to show up consistently. So in the cyberspace world, the buyer is only going to see what they actually see on the first page, and that's all they're going to go to. You have to go website A, website B, website C. And so I call this silo marketing. You basically are siloed into each builder's website, and everyone is different. So you can't even say, well, if I go to page 2, I'm going to see this. And if I go to page 3, no. Page 2 is probably the opposite of page 5 on the other guys. And of course, you can't save anything. You can't compare anything. You can't return to where it was because it's the same as yesterday. And if you did find something you did like, good luck if you remember to bookmark it, because you didn't think you really liked it then until you saw a bunch of other worse ones later on. But now you got to figure out, wait a minute, what was the one I liked and which website? And then now I search again and the rankings come out all different. It's like an Easter egg hunt in this crazy forest. And then the eggs are always moving. It's not even in the same place.
So, and if you did want to save your preference, imagine now you'd have to submit your information to 4 different websites.
Yes, and they're all calling you, and every time you hit that registration button, you're afraid, oh man, this starts an avalanche of conversations, and my husband's not even here. He's going to have to go through this whole thing again. And so it's, you can imagine the customer experience, but if you want to buy a new house, it's just what you have to do. What happens on the builder side is they have their websites, and the websites really haven't changed in the last 15, 20 years, except that it's gone to a mobile responsive and maybe endless scrolls. Other than that, the way it's presented, at least the content hasn't really changed that much, especially in the last 5 years. Let's put it that way. It's still static. And what happens on a static website is you don't know who the people are, and you really don't know which products they've, beyond maybe which community or which plans. You don't know what options they've chosen for anything, because you don't know who they are. So they're also wedded in the sense here. What we want to do is for the builders is to create interactive websites. And these are what we call web app websites. In most e-commerce sites, they look and smell and feel just like a website, but they're actually web apps that work across any device, any browser. The one reason you don't really know that it's any different is because you don't get to see what other people see. If we both type in facebook.com, you will guarantee see your friends well, we're kind of friends, but you'll see your friends and I'll see my friends. If you like dogs, you'll see dogs. If I like cats, I'll see cats. Even though we typed in the same address, we all see it uniquely to us. That's the crazy magic. Okay. So that's a website, web app. So what we want to do is flip it around. So instead of going to the general store, buyers have their own My Home page, just like they have their own Facebook page, just like they have their own Amazon account or their own Netflix accounts. These can sit on the builder's website, but we call them our My Home web app. So now, because it's their own app, they're going to register in there because now they can save their favorites the way they design it outside of what the builders have presented it. So on the buyer side in this situation, and this is dynamically generated on the fly. It's unlike a traditional website where you may have to hire a website developer and spend tens of thousands of dollars and take months and months of building these pages. And every time you add content or change something or change another link or something, you have to go pay and then add that. It takes more time. And by the time the buyer's gone, and it's all generic. What we're doing here is like what happens on Facebook. When somebody sets up a Facebook account, boom, it's instant. You're live. You just click on the people you want as your friends, and they'll even recommend friends to you if you don't have any. So, you're off and running. So what happens on the buyer side is Mary has her own My Home website. Mike has his own My Home website. Eileen has her own My Home website, and Doug has his own My Home website, and they all have their own houses the way they designed it. And when they go into their favorites, they have all their favorites the way they designed it. And when they come back tomorrow, it's where they start where they left off. If they left off at home on the website and they went to the sales center, it picks up from there. If they start off on our new home marketplace as a shopping place, when they go to the builder's website, it picks up from there.
Mm-hmm. So now when Mary or Allie logs into their My Home app, they're seeing, instead of their friends, each friend is represented by a different builder. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yes.
you're seeing all of the plans for all of those different builders all in one place instead of going to each builder individually. It's like, imagine if instead of Facebook, you had to go to
each friend's page, by themselves
to interact with them. Like, oh, I wonder what Mary posted today. Or I wonder what Bob posted today. You'd have to go to their individual webpage. Nobody would do that.
What we want is that flow of continuous content from the things that are meaningful to you. And that's what we can do at a marketplace level, because at a marketplace level, it will look across thousands of builders, communities, and plans and options. And so you'll have no fear of missing out. Plus, if it notifies you of those matches or inventory home that popped up or a new lot that you're interested in, because you may be more focused about a home site than you are a house yet. And it would notify you of those types of things, as opposed to you manually searching websites.
And for the builder, imagine like if I was selling t-shirts and I was like, okay, I'm going to open my store and I'm going to create a website, try to sell this t-shirt, versus joining Amazon and selling my t-shirts on Amazon. So as a builder, you have that benefit of being in the marketplace with other builders, where your content can be found, instead of trying to spend all this money driving traffic to my t-shirt website, hoping that I will show up and rank.
Especially if you're a small custom builder that builds on your lot, you don't have a community, you don't have a lot of money, and you don't have much of a website. You can't be on a promoted community on Zillow or afford to be on there. And we actually find that match for your, you build 10 homes a year, but it's going to cost you thousands of dollars to find those 10 people that will be interested in your 10 homes. So hopefully in this universe here, we can play this wonderful matchmaking game. And in this scenario here, what happens, instead of the buyers shopping the builders in a sense, which they are, the builders could then shop the buyers and then market to them on their website, because it knows that, hey, Allie really loves my house. Out of all these 4 people, Allie loves my house the most. So I'm going to give her special treatment. At least you know which lead to follow. in this scenario here, where the buyers have their own interactive personal My Home websites, it goes from being a seller-centric approach to a buyer-centric approach. This is what happens on Amazon, this is what happens on Uber, happens on Pinterest. It's all about the consumer, the customer.
Which it should be.
Which it should be. That's it really, we've been doing it all backwards. We've been making the consumer and go to the product when the product should meet the consumer. The one interesting thing about Uber, a lot of people think that Uber is great because it matches the driver to the rider. No, it actually allows the driver to shop the rider. I don't know if I want to ride. I don't know if I want to pick up this guy because according to Uber, this guy's a bad tipper. He's always complaining. He brings a ton of junk and it's out of my way. What you want to do as a builder, you want to shop your buyers. You don't want to just take anybody if you have a choice. You want to find the one that likes you the most because you can probably win their hearts over, but you can probably make more money with them because you don't have to sell them. So
this will change the way we sell homes, where customer chooses you, but you're also able to do some additional things because you see what the customer is doing on the other hand. And so if that customer is looking at a home site that hasn't been selling, but for whatever reason they like it, maybe you can offer them something special with that home site, or you can send them some information to entice them. So it becomes more of a two people who are actually interested in each other and are similar with their values together, as opposed to me trying to convince you to marry me where, really we're not a good
Exactly. Match. No, what we want to do is we want to go from being a salesperson to almost being a concierge. We want to deliver the product that the buyer has already decided on, as opposed to saying, I want to force feed you what I have. So, and the other thing about letting the buyers do their own thing on their website is, you can see where they are with you in their customer journey, because the reality, no matter how many people don't want to admit this, they're shopping other builders and other communities. So it may be nice to know that, hey, they have 10 favorites, but I'm number 6 on their builder favorites list. So maybe notify me as a seller when I'm number 3 on their list, because when I'm number 3, I know I'm serious, but I don't want to be chasing after number 5, 4, and 3 to try to compete against them. I'd rather go after the one that has me as a top 3 client. As a client that picks me in the top 3. So where you have leverage and who really wants you, as opposed to who you have to persuade.
Now, does that mean that builder websites are going to be dead?
Not if they can make their websites into web apps, because what's going to end up happening is just like Amazon, they have vendors that are on their Amazon website. But if you're really engaged with that product of that vendor, you can still link out into that vendor's website to enhance the knowledge that beyond what Amazon may have as a templated general information. So they're very engaged and they just need that affirmation. Tell me about your story, your history. Let me go visit your social media pages. We're hoping that the marketplace is a launch pad, our starting point. It doesn't have to be the end point.
And so what this allows them to do is to essentially jump on and offline as they wish. So maybe start the process in a portal, and then say they narrowed it down to the 3, and they actually go visit the 3 in person, and they pick one, and then the transaction takes place online, maybe even sitting at the sales center, but the transaction is online.
Yes, the one differentiation is that I want everything to be done online, because the data, the consumer started that way. But that does not mean that they don't have to do it in person or face to face. Just like when you go shopping at Home Depot, you may be picking up the power tools, but you're transacting online, because when you put in that credit card, it's going through an online process that says, hey, you bought those power tools and you paid this price at this location. So what we want to do is we want the buyer to choose where they want to shop, whether it's by myself in my pajamas at 2:00 in the morning on a website or in a sales center with you. But my history, my favorites, my designs, everything I've done needs to be digitally accessible. And the transactions, if you've already designed everything, why wouldn't the transactions be digitally there? Why would you have to now say, well, let me go pull out my contract from the file cabinet and mark up some things, and let me print out whatever you design here and attach that to it? You're taking not only a lot more time, and you're making it a lot more archaic, and now you got to file all this stuff, but you've lost that data history.
Yep. And then think about the history going forward. I mean, that's one thing that builders have not done a great job with, is post-closing customer experience. And so if you have a digital copy of the buyer's home, and, with all the things that are, we can put in the home, all the sensors now that tell us when that fridge is going to start leaking and the water is going to go in the roof.
All the warranties, all the notifications about, oh, I want to repaint something. What was the swatch color?
It's all digitally stored in one place, easy to find for customer. And most importantly for you, the builder, now you're able to generate additional streams of revenue because you could be the one servicing this customer. And so staying top of mind. So next time they're ready for a new home, they're likely to go with you, so long as you're able to provide that great customer experience.
Exactly. It actually turns that customer experience into a selling point for a builder. You know, all these houses look the same, but wow, you know, where most builders leave after I move in, you're with me through this. The home life begins. The home life ends when the builder turns over the keys generally, but the home life begins for the consumers when they move in. And what I hope down the road, even with the new go, is there's, like everybody always tells me, there's no more social networks out there. There's Facebook for your social life, friends and family, and there's LinkedIn for your work life. And I was like, well, what else goes through with you throughout your whole life? Your home life. Every time you change stages, or you move, or you get divorced or change jobs, your home, your lifestyle changes. We used to be able to use that data. Obviously, they have to opt in on that to say, hey, look, I'm ready to resell. Let me put all my floor plans up there because I already have my home site and my colors, so I can sell my house very quickly. But at the same time, tell me where I should move. I mean, you already know all about me. I don't want to fill out another questionnaire. You know how many car garage I need, and so whatever it would just go through them throughout their lives, and that helps the builders tap into those lifestyle decisions. You don't need to interview the people; they've already been living it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, this AI matchmaking game, as we've alluded to, is where the builder goes and meets the buyers on whatever channel they're on, and then finally, in this AI-driven online marketing world, the builder still needs to do marketing. They kick off the process by showcasing, some of the generic content on their websites just as presentation marketing. Then somebody like Allie comes in and she customizes the content, but it actually creates her own My Home web app page. So now it's all about her. It's her Amazon account. That's where she's going to reside. Now the OSC and the AI can assist whenever she needs to in that decision-making process. And the AI functions as both a virtual buyer's agent, helping in the purchase, but also as a seller's agent, notifying the salesperson, the OSC, that, hey, seems like Anya has narrowed it down to 3 homes here. Maybe it's time for you to jump in. And with each interaction, just like you do on Facebook, with each interaction that Allie makes with her website, the more personalized and better the customer experience, and to move her down the digital online sales funnel.
It's going to be so important that your content is engaging, that you do have that content, because if you're going to be competing against home builders with awesome content and you still have, black and white renderings, that's probably not going to cut it.
Exactly. Remember the core definition of marketing is connecting buyers with sellers. Attracting the audience is not really connecting them. Engagement connects buyers and sellers. So to me, you're not really a successful marketer unless you actually created engagement, because all you did, if you only created an audience, that just means you got a lot of window shoppers. Nobody stepped in your store.
Yes, this wraps it up. So, so if you guys want to learn more about this, we'll definitely be happy to answer questions. It's I know it's a mind blowing. When I've first heard John talk about this, it was kind of like, what, huh? But I think it makes sense when you think about it as Amazon for new home sales. And all of the floor plans are being rendered instantly to the buyers' liking. So it comes in the color scheme that they prefer, and they're only seeing the styles that they want to see and nothing to distract them, to derail the process. And again, that's social shareability is huge. Collaboration with their spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. And then of course, it's going to open a whole new opportunity for vendors, because as you know, we buy not just a new home, but new community, new friends, new curtains, new furniture. So there's going to be a lot of additional,
all about new.
Yes, additional opportunities for home builders to monetize on the transaction. So thanks so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time on Tech Tuesday. Until then, bye.
Hi, see you.